All right, guys, welcome back to another video. My first Sixers video of the year. I've been waiting to make a video about them because I kind of wanted to let it marinate. You know, they're 10 games into this season. You couldn't really get a good feel for them. Now we're about 20 games into the season, 19 to be exact. I think they're 10-9 after losing tonight to the Hawks. I just want to talk about what my expectations or hopes were going into this year and what's played out. So, going into the year, you have the Paul George and Joel Embiid element of it all, and you're hoping that they can stay healthy and they can contribute and they can make the playoffs. And to be clear, they don't own their pick unless it falls into the top four, which is most likely not happening, despite their best efforts when they lose. But so you have that element, and then you have Tyrese Maxey, who kind of took a step back last year, but if you really paid attention, he really found his footing around January into March when he eventually got shut down for the season with a finger injury. And all offseason, everybody was talking about, oh, Tyrese Maxey needs Joel Embiid, this, that, or whatever. And then Tyrese Maxey comes back, and not only does he look like an all-star, but he looks like an all-NBA player, and he looks like an MVP candidate. And so that's great. That's one of the few positives. The negatives, and I should say another positive is VJ Edgecombe. He started off great. Defenses have adjusted. He's got to learn counters. He's got to learn to dribble with his left hand. He's got to become a better jump shooter. He's got to learn to take like one step closer to the basket when he takes off. That's fine. He's a rookie. But in the short term and the long term, the problems remain Paul George and Joel Embiid. Now, Paul George and Joel Embiid have played a combined like 8 games or something. Like I think Paul George has played like 3 games, or Joel Embiid has played around 8. I don't know. They barely played. So because of that, they're never the same team every night. Identity-wise, personality-wise, anything. You can't have 2 part-time players and be a good basketball team. Just look at the Clippers. Kawhi is in and out of the lineup. The Sixers, Joel is in and out of the lineup. So as for Paul George goes, I still think Paul George can be a useful player in his current state. Don't get me wrong, he's incredibly frustrating. He is not a very high IQ player, and he pisses me the hell off. That being said, it's much easier to be a useful wing player who can create for himself and kind of play just as a role player. Be like a better version of Tobias Harris, which he has been so far through these few games. Joel Embiid, on the other hand, is completely washed. And unlike Paul George, he cannot hide on defense. And he can't really hide on offense because he insists on the game running through him. I don't think it's a jealousy thing or like a denial thing. I just think he's incapable of being a role player. Even when he was at the height of his powers and was extremely athletic, he's never been a smart player. He's never been a quick decision maker. And so all that stuff is getting exposed now, and he's actively harming the team. Right now, Joel Embiid is like the family dog that needs to be put down, but they're just trying to hold on to hope. And you see it at Thanksgiving, and they're like, oh, Emily, she looks a little slow. Is she all right? Oh, yeah, she's just tired. No, he's not just tired. Like, he's washed. He's done. He needs to go be a family man, go home, retire, because I'm not watching this. And I know all the rules about, even if he retires, you still have to wait 1 year for his contract to be off the books. Like, I'm not watching this anymore. He's not a smart basketball player. He insists on continuing to play a certain style of play as if he was an MVP player instead of making quick decisions with the ball, and it's actively harming the team. He played 30-something minutes tonight and got like 3 rebounds. It's pathetic. This isn't good for anybody. Going back to what I said I hoped for on the season, I hoped that he would play like 40 games, be healthy for the playoffs, and maybe you could just dump his contract to somebody at the end of the year. But that's not going to happen. So now we're stuck with his contract for the next 3 years. And it's like, now the focus has to be, how do we get a contender around Tyrese Maxey in the next 2 or so years? Because Rich Paul, his agent, is not going to continue to put up with this. He's not going to continue to put up with Joel Embiid trotting out there every 2 weeks, then playing terribly, then he gets a sore knee, sits out 2 weeks, plays a few games, sits out another 2 weeks. And as fans, it's just nauseating. And I don't want to beat a dead horse, But it just goes back to the Daryl Morey thing of giving him a contract extension for no fucking reason, and it's infuriating. So now we watch this inconsistent team that can never get in a groove or a rhythm because you have all these players just constantly in and out of the lineup. And now this brings me to the coach, Nick Nurse, who, look, I get it. In basketball, coaches aren't as important as other sports. But can you run a freaking play like every once in a while? Can you call a set at some point? I mean, tonight, going against one of the best perimeter defenders in the league in Dyson Daniels, you're just having your guards dribble the ball 6 seconds at a time. The only time you run any action is when you run these DHOs that happen at half court. And it doesn't cause any advantages on the offensive end. You're just playing hot potato with the basketball. Like, it's not getting a player open. It's not getting a player a ball on the move. It's not accomplishing anything. This isn't like the big 3 Miami Heat. You can't just yell like, yo, let him cook, like every time down the floor. You have to run a play. And now Maxey's at the point where he can't even hit the broadside of a barn on a three-pointer because he's being run into the ground. He's playing the most minutes in the league. He played 50 minutes again tonight. He missed 2 free throws at the end of the game, which like had a 1% chance of happening, of course, because he's like an 88% free throw shooter. And the possession before that, Joel Embiid, in his current state where he can barely walk, is holding onto the ball and shooting a contested long 2. It's just nonsense. It's stupidity. They can't get a rebound. They can't rotate. Jalen Johnson was wide open on like 2 straight threes in double overtime. They're just the dumbest, least likable basketball team ever. And it starts with the players at the top. Besides Maxey, they don't play hard. Joel's not even trying out there. Like, what's the point? Like, seriously. What is his goal by playing now? You're just hurting the team and pissing everybody off, including your teammates. Just retire. You had a great career, all things considered, but it's over. There's no point of subjecting us all to this bullshit. It's done. You're only going to play 20 games a year anyway. What's the difference between 0 and 20? You get your paycheck, and we get to move on. It's just ridiculous. So, I mean, look, the Sixers are headed towards about 40 wins in the play-in if they get lucky. If Tyrese's hamstring doesn't fall off the bone before that. But it's just frustrating because every game that they lose is just a damning indictment of how this team was built. They punted multiple years of the star players' prime when they had a chance, and then they just started chasing things when it was already over. And now you don't have any flexibility to build around the player that is turning into an MVP candidate. So it's like, what is the point of any of this? I see people say, like, don't get mad at the wins and losses, just enjoy the young guys. Well, one of the young guys is an MVP caliber player, and it doesn't matter because the old guys are literally dragging the team down. You're not even going to be able to build a team around him. So what's the point? I don't know. Their schedule is easy coming up. Let's see if they can rattle off some wins. But for now, it looks bleak. And tonight's game was just an absolute disaster. I'll see you guys next time.